Good day, dear viewers. Today we will dive into the world of Stoic philosophy to reveal the secrets of the 10 things that pull you to the bottom and prevent you from achieving true success and inner peace. These invisible obstacles, like shadows, may remain invisible, but they determine your present and your future. But what if I tell you that Stoicism opens the doors to the world where these obstacles no longer have power over you? The purpose of this video is to help you understand how turning certain things out of your life can lead to significant positive changes. So get ready for a journey that can change your worldview and take you to new heights. Dear viewers, subscribe to our YouTube and Telegram channels and join the community of those who want to live consciously and balancedly. And now let's get started. The first obstacle we will talk about is the constant comparison of ourselves with others. This phenomenon is so deeply ingrained in our consciousness that we often do not notice how it affects our thoughts, decisions, and emotions. We compare our life, achievements, appearance, and even our dreams with those who surround us or whom we follow on social networks. This invisible competition creates the illusion that our life is not good enough and that we do not meet certain standards. But have you ever thought that every person has their own unique path? That what seems to be a success for one may not be important for another? Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own goals, not on how we look in the eyes of others. It is important to understand that this comparison is only a trap that distracts us from real development. It forces us to spend energy on things that we cannot control, instead of working on what is really important to us. When we constantly compare ourselves with others, we forget to evaluate our achievements and build our goals. This undermines our self-esteem and motivation, because there is always someone who seems more successful or happy. However, Stoicism offers another approach. Focus on what you can control, on your actions, on your decisions, and on your attitude to events. Constant comparison of yourself with others is not just a habit, it is a real trap that can take away the joy of life from us. Imagine a situation. You wake up in the morning, open social networks, and see someone celebrating another success, showing their perfect appearance or demonstrating new purchases. At once the mood is spoiled, and it seems to you that you have not achieved anything, that your life is simple and boring compared to someone else's. But is it really a real picture? Social networks are not reality. It is a showcase where everyone shows only the best moments, hiding their problems and failures. Constantly comparing yourself with this showcase, you begin to see your life in a negative light, which leads to a decrease in self-esteem and loss of self-confidence. This approach not only poisons your thoughts, but also prevents you from growing. Instead of focusing on your own achievements, you spend time and energy on things that do not matter. But what can you do to get rid of this trap? Stoics recommend practicing gratitude and concentration on your own path. Every day you can ask yourself, what did I do today to become better than yesterday? This simple question will help redirect your energy from external comparison to internal growth. In addition, it is useful to remind yourself that everyone has their own pace and their own unique path. You are not obliged to respond to someone else's standards, and your successes matter regardless of what others do. It is important to focus on what is under your control, on your actions, efforts, and determination to move forward. So instead of wasting time on comparison, direct your energy to the development of those qualities that are really important to you. Learn to appreciate your own path and be grateful for every step you have taken. And remember, you do not compete with anyone but yourself. When you realize this, you will feel inner peace and real freedom from external pressure. The second obstacle we will look at today is fear of failure. This fear may seem imperceptible, but it has enormous power over us, imperceptibly influencing our decisions, limiting our possibilities, and restraining us from achieving our true potential. Fear of failure is often born by our desire to avoid pain, shame, or criticism. We are afraid to take the first step, because we do not want to find ourselves in a situation where something may go wrong. But does this fear really have a foundation? Is it not an illusion that lives in our imagination? Imagine that you are facing an important decision. Maybe this is a new project, an open opportunity, or even a personal dream. You feel anxiety, But at the same time, your mind is drawing scenarios where everything goes wrong, where you are suffering a failure, and this feeling begins to pressure you, forcing you to give up the idea even before it is realized. However, Stoicism teaches us to perceive failure as an integral part of life, as a necessary step on the path to growth. In fact, no great success comes without risk. To become better, we must learn to perceive failure as a lesson, as an experience that makes us stronger and wiser. Think about it this way. Every failure is an opportunity to learn something new about yourself, about your ability, and about the world around you. It is like training your muscles. With every effort, you become stronger. But if you avoid this process, your muscles will remain weak. How to overcome this fear? One of the key principles of Stoicism is the focus on what we can control. You cannot always control the result, but you can always control your efforts, your attitude, and your willingness to try. Instead of being afraid that something will go wrong, ask yourself, what can I do to improve my chances of success? What steps can I take to minimize risks? In addition, it is important to remember that failures do not define you as a personality. They are just temporary obstacles on the way to your goal. Instead of avoiding opportunities through fear, use them as a call, as a way to test your strength and rise to a new level. So the next time you have an opportunity that causes fear, remember that fear of failure is just a signal that you are going beyond your comfort zone. And this is good, because it is precisely beyond its limits that real development begins. The third obstacle that we will look at today is an excessive desire for control. Many of us believe that by controlling everything around us, we will be able to achieve greater success or prevent negative situations. However, the reality is that a desire for absolute control can become a serious obstacle on the way to inner peace and development. We live in a constant stream of changes, and an attempt to keep everything under control often turns into constant stress. Uncertainty, chaos, and unexpected situations are a natural part of life that we cannot completely remove. But the problem is that instead of adopting this skill, we spend time and energy fighting it, trying to influence what is not in our favor. Think about it. How many times have you felt disappointment because something went wrong as you planned? Maybe it was at work, in your personal life, or even in everyday matters. This desire for control can cause tension when the situation comes under your influence, leaving you with feelings of helplessness and dissatisfaction. But Stoicism teaches us an important truth. We must learn to distinguish what is in our hands and what we cannot influence. Epictetus said that there are things that we can control and things that we cannot. And one of the greatest wisdoms is to learn to accept the second and focus on the first. What does it mean in practice? It means that we must be prepared for the fact that life is unpredictable and learn to let go of control over things that do not depend on us. For example, you cannot control the behavior of other people, the economic situation, or the weather, but you can always control your reactions, your actions, and your thoughts. And this is where your true power lies. As soon as you learn to let go of the desire for control, you will see how a part of your stress will disappear. You will stop worrying about what you cannot change and start focusing on what is really in your power. This will bring not only inner peace, but it will also open up new opportunities for you, because you will no longer be stuck in the desire to control everyone around you. So if you are constantly trying to keep everything under control, think about what would happen if you allowed yourself to let go of the situation a little. What would you get if, instead of trying to control everything, you focused on your own development and reactions to events? The answer to these questions can change your approach to life. Friends, right now, you can help the community learn more about the wisdom and power of Stoicism. Your like and comment under this video will help the video to go up and become available to more people. Let's make this world a better place together by spreading the wisdom of Stoicism. The fourth obstacle we will talk about is self-pity. Self-pity is an imperceptible but powerful force that can draw you into a whirlpool of negative emotions and prevent you from moving forward. It is stolen at the moment when we feel difficulties, failure, or injustice in life, and our mind begins to concentrate on how everything is against us. Self-pity is like a trap that is easy to fall into. but very difficult to get out of. When you start to pity yourself, you begin to feel that you are helpless in the face of circumstances, that life is unfair to you. This is a state when you are not looking for a way out of the situation, but instead you are stuck in your complaints and blame external factors in your problems. But what is the most dangerous thing in self-pity? It deprives you of responsibility for your own life. You begin to believe that you cannot change anything, because everything is against you. And this can become the main obstacle to achieving success and inner peace. You stop acting because you believe that your efforts will not bring results, and thus you create your own dissatisfaction. Stoicism, however, teaches us to take responsibility for everything that happens in our life. Mark Aurelius said that we always have a choice how to react to circumstances. Even when the situation seems unfair or painful, we only decide whether to allow it to break us or use it as an opportunity to grow. What can you do to get rid of this obstacle? First of all, stop looking at yourself as a victim. Realize that difficulties are a part of every person's life, and you are not the only one who encounters problems. Second, focus on the solution, not on the problem. Ask yourself, what can I do to improve the situation? Even small steps in the right direction can change your reality. Remember that a complaint for one's own fault will not change reality. Instead, the ability to accept it as a call gives you control over your own fault. If you want to change your life, stop looking for excuses and start acting. This is the only way to overcome this intrusive inner enemy. The fifth obstacle we will talk about is materialism. In the modern world, it becomes a kind of ideology that penetrates all aspects of our life. We are stuck in a race for new things: phones, cars, clothes, and all this promises us a quick satisfaction. But has this satisfaction really lasted long? Don't we become holders of our own desires, when every new purchase brings only temporary happiness, and then returns us to emptiness again? Materialism is like a trap that the modern world lures us into. And although we all want to reach a certain level of comfort, the question is how far we are ready to go to get it. Stoics, in particular Mark Aurelius and Seneca, emphasized that external things do not bring true happiness. Why? Because they are temporary. Today you have one thing, and tomorrow you want even more. This is an endless cycle that leaves no room for peace. Instead of looking for happiness in things, Stoicism urges us to focus on internal values. Material goods can make our life more convenient, but they do not fill us from the inside. On the contrary, they distract us from what really matters, from the development of our character, relationships with our loved ones, spiritual growth. If we allow materialism to control our decisions, we lose the ability to enjoy the real moments of life. We become dependent on the external, not on the internal. Stoics said that happiness comes not from the outside, but from the inside. Therefore, the first step to free yourself from this obstacle is to realize that real wealth is not measured by the number of things you have, but by how much you are able to be happy regardless of them. Materialism obscures our real needs and values. Therefore, it is important to learn to distinguish what is really necessary for our happiness and what is just an illusion. Only in this way can we get rid of this burden and find inner peace. The sixth obstacle we will talk about is unhealthy habits. They may seem insignificant, but over time they become a heavy burden that slowly but surely destroys our health, energy, and productivity. It can be anything from constant overeating, excessive alcohol consumption, smoking to lack of physical activity, or a sedentary lifestyle. We get used to these habits so much that we do not even notice how they begin to control our lives. Stoics, especially Seneca, emphasized the importance of self-control and moderation. They knew that it was discipline and control over oneself that opened the way to inner freedom. Health is our greatest treasure, and when we neglect it for the sake of short-term satisfaction, we limit our own possibilities and potential. Unhealthy habits are often justified by the words, "I will start only once," "I will start tomorrow," or "I deserve it." But this way leads to constant postponement of changes for later. And the result is a chronic fatigue, lack of energy, and a negative impact on our emotional and mental health. If we want to achieve inner peace and physical harmony, we must break this cycle and replace harmful habits with beneficial ones. For example, instead of watching TV in the evening, why not take a short walk in the fresh air? Instead of eating usually harmful snacks, it is worth choosing healthy alternatives that increase the level of energy. Unhealthy habits pull us down, taking away our time, health, and potential. But as the Stoics said, every moment is a new chance for change, and the best time to start is now. The first step to free yourself from this obstacle is to realize its impact on your life. Only in this way, you will be able to transform your weaknesses into strength and reach a new level of physical and mental resilience. The seventh obstacle we will talk about is anger and anger. These emotions may seem natural and even justified when we are offended or treated unfairly. However, in fact, they are one of the greatest enemies of our peace and harmony. Anger and anger not only destroy our inner peace, but also have a negative impact on our physical and mental health. When we allow these emotions to take over, we actually transfer our energy and control over life to the hands of those who have offended or offended us. It is like poison that slowly spreads throughout our body, undermining our well-being. The Stoics, like many wise men of the past, believed that anger and anger are manifestations of weakness and incomprehension. Seneca noted that anger is a short-lived godliness that leads to deeds that we regret later. When we allow ourselves to be angry or offended, we not only inflict suffering on ourselves, but also create barriers for real relationships and healthy communication. Instead of giving in to anger or indignation, Stoicism advises us to apply a reasonable approach and self-control. Every time we feel anger, we must stop and think whether this situation is really worth giving my energy to. Maybe there are other ways to resolve the conflict or understand the situation that do not harm our inner harmony. Practice forgiveness and understanding. This does not mean that you must accept or support the behavior you do not like, but it will help you free yourself from the emotional chains that hold you back in the past and prevent you from growing. Instead of focusing on images, it is better to focus your energy on self-improvement and positive changes in your life. Remember that our happiness and peace are in our hands. Let go of anger and images, and you will open the door to true inner freedom. The eighth obstacle we will talk about is an excessive desire for comfort. In our modern world, where access to material goods and comfort has become so easy that it is tempting to seek only comfort and avoid any inconveniences. However, this tendency can be a hindrance to our development and achievement of true success. Comfort is undoubtedly an important component of our daily life, but when we become too attached to it, it can lead to stagnation and even to a decrease in the quality of our life. True growth and achievement come through overcoming difficulties and solving problems. When we leave the comfort zone, we put new challenges in front of us that force us to adapt and become stronger. Without this process, our opportunities remain limited, and we miss the chance for self-improvement. Instead of avoiding difficulties, try to take them as part of your development. Let yourself face new challenges and experience, even if it can be uncomfortable or unpleasant. Remember that true success and inner peace are often beyond the limits of our comfort zone. The ninth obstacle we will talk about is the absence of clear goals and plans. In our life, it often happens that we dive into a routine without clearly defined goals or strategies to achieve what we want. The absence of clear guidelines can lead to a loss of effort and time, which prevents us from achieving significant results. Without clear goals, we can feel like a ship without a rudder, sailing in an unknown direction. This can lead to disappointment and a sense of hopelessness, because we do not know what exactly we need to do to achieve what we want. Stoicism teaches us the importance of inner discipline and clarity of mind. To overcome this obstacle, start by determining what is important to you and what you want to achieve. Formulate your goals clearly and specifically. Let it not just be a general success, but specific measurement goals, such as learning new skills, completing a project, or improving health. Create an action plan that will help you achieve these goals and regularly review your progress. Remember that a clear goal gives you focus and motivation, helps you navigate in life and reach greater heights. Every step you take to achieve your goals brings you closer to success and inner peace. Do not be afraid to set big goals and work on them with perseverance. This will allow you to realize your potential and live a more conscious life. The 10th obstacle we will talk about is irregularity in self-discipline. The indisputable power of self-discipline is the key to achieving success and inner peace. However, irregularity in implementing healthy habits and routines can significantly interfere with our development and growth. Imagine that you are trying to grow a garden. If you do not regularly water the plants, take care of them, and maintain them in the proper condition, you will not be able to get a good crop. Similarly, if you do not constantly work on your habits and maintain discipline, you will not achieve the desired results in life. Stoicism teaches us that discipline is the basis of a successful and harmonious life. As Mark Aurelius wrote, "No one can become good or wise without constant effort and practice." Irregularity in this matter can be a reason for disappointment and failure. Perhaps you will be able to achieve certain results, but for steady and lasting success, you need consistency and regularity. To overcome this obstacle, develop a plan for regular self-improvement and stick to it. Create a schedule in which you will allocate time for important tasks and routine tasks that help you grow. Use techniques that help you maintain discipline, such as daily routine, setting clear deadlines, or self-check. It is also important to set priorities and focus on the main goals. Try to be patient and consistent in your efforts. There is no point in waiting for instant results. Constant work on self-discipline, even in small matters, will help you achieve great results and provide a stable path to success and inner peace. If this video was useful to you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell, so as not to miss new videos about self-improvement and Stoicism. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments. I am always glad to hear your opinion and help you on your way to self-improvement. Thank you for watching and see you soon, dear viewers.